Dear officers and members of the board, dear distinguished guests. It is a real honor for me to participate in this assembly and on behalf of Wiley to talk more about how education technology can guide us through what we are facing now, the now normal, and how hybrid learning can be implemented successfully. Before I start, first I would like to show my gratitude for this invitation to the officers and members of the board, namely Dr. Miriam Nabate, Dr. Kathleen Gimbatan, Dr. Judy Gotan, Dr. Joy D, as well as Dr. Mariette de Villegas, Ms. Esther Jane Uy, Ms. Franelli Pableyo, Ms. Angeline Tillier, and Dr. Rodel Batan. And last but not least, also my thanks to the Executive Director, Mr. Angelito Petreno. A little bit about me before I delve into the topic. So my name is Dr. Elena Pelzer, and I'm a senior manager focusing on efficacy and research at John Wiley & Sons, located in Singapore. What I do here is that I'm conducting efficacy studies, focusing on determinants of teaching and learning effectiveness. So taking a look at how Wiley Digital Solutions is improving teaching and learning. And I do that by usually combining computational methods. We are usually publishing our research in the shape of case studies or white papers or even peer-reviewed journal articles. And at the end of this talk, I'm also happy to provide you with a QR code that guides you directly through our success stories, where you can download them at your convenience. So today I would like to take the time to talk a little bit more about how the now normal is shaping our use of hybrid learning environments and how hybrid learning can be implemented successfully. And at the end of the talk, I want to share one success story from Wiley Digital Solutions on hybrid learning. And if you would like to delve a little bit deeper into the details after this talk, I would recommend the white paper that we recently published called Hybrid Learning in Asia. The link will be added at the end of this talk. So now we're living in the now normal. What is the now normal? Everyone is always talking about the new normal, but we're talking about the now normal. The now normal describes that there was always a pull towards online and hybrid learning formats, but there are three main factors why we are now in this now normal in which hybrid learning has become not only an option, but almost mandatory for certain courses. Why is that? Because sometimes physical resources such as books or learning devices are scarce or unavailable, and therefore it's easier to access and use educational technologies because they're online and therefore always available. Second, over the last 20 years, we have not only witnessed a rise of technology, but also a shift in the pedagogical concepts from teacher-centric to learner-centric learning. That means from holding monologues towards including students in discussions in the course. And third, of course, COVID-19 global pandemic has accelerated the use of hybrid and online learning, and more institutions than ever before had to go online. But it is very unlikely that everyone will resume to face-to-face teaching after the pandemic is over. Instead, it is very likely that hybrid learning will stay. Why? Well, hybrid learning combines elements from online with traditional in-person education, and therefore it has several benefits compared to merely online learning as well as merely face-to-face teaching. So one reason for hybrid learning is that it contributes to pedagogy, because hybrid learning is more interactive than face-to-face teaching because it has just more options available. Second, instructors and students can work together on projects at any time and from any way. So it is increasing collaborative learning. Third, hybrid learning is also beneficial for inclusion because students have more flexibility when and where they want to study. Fourth, students can also save costs because they need to travel less often to their institution. And fifth, there's a greater chance that the learning environment matches the student's learning style, simply because hybrid learning is a blend of online learning and traditional in-person education. So here we have 5 good reasons for hybrid learning, but how do students and instructors perceive it? We conducted a survey with over 2,000 instructors and 700 students on the perception of hybrid learning. The survey is representative for instructors and students from the US and Canada. And we can see that students perceive a great number of benefits to be associated with hybrid learning, such as better work-life balance or being better prepared for the future. But we can also see that the instructors are more cautious. And of course, the question arises, why is there a difference between the perception of instructors and students? Why are instructors more cautious of hybrid learning? So next, we want to go through some common challenges or potential pain points of hybrid learning and what learning science is suggesting that one can do about them. So there are some common myths about hybrid learning. One is that instructors are fearing that students are not as engaged in a hybrid course. Another one is worried that a digital divide might arise or is even worsened when one is employing a hybrid course. Third, instructors are also worried about academic integrity, so we're talking about cheating here. And fourth, simply they're worried that perhaps their preparation time for a hybrid course will increase. So we want to walk through these 4 reasons that might prevent instructors from employing hybrid learning step by step. First, we want to address the worry that students might not be engaged in a hybrid course, or that a hybrid course does not provide enough opportunities for students to interact with each other and the instructor. So when we want to address this worry, it's important to first identify when students are actually engaged. So what makes them feel engaged and what makes them want to interact with each other and with the instructor. And when we look at learning science, it shows that students are in this constructive, positive state when they value what they learn, when they experience self-efficacy, and when they feel there are no obstacles in the way, or at least none that could be overcome. And instructors can do a lot in order to achieve these 3 states in students. For example, they can implement all learning cycle dimensions, such as knowing, thinking, doing, and reflecting, so the ones that we know from Bloom's taxonomy, in order to create a meaningful learning experience, in order for students to value what they learn. So not only that students have to memorize certain facts, but also that they have to go a little bit deeper to analyze, to reflect, to draw comparisons to real-world examples. Second, instructors can use multimedia and online discussion boards in order to also increase emotional engagement when one is not meeting in the classroom. And third, since hybrid learning consists of both online and face-to-face teaching, the time during face-to-face teaching can be used for collaborative learning in order to increase engagement. As Dr. John Cohn said, the most meaningful learning experiences are those where interaction is at the core. As you think ahead to designing learning experiences that may bridge online and in-person experiences, focus on not just when you can create these moments for interaction, but also how and where. So this is an important reminder to think of ways how and where, so online or in person, to include interaction. And a lot can be done on institutional and instructor level. So broken down, what can be done on institutional, individual, instructor level, the institution can provide a learning technology that is perceived as useful by the instructor and the students. And that includes multimedia resources such as videos, animations, interactive study tools, simulation, discussion boards. The instructors, as already discussed, they can try to outsource traditional monologues and instead then use the time in the classroom for discussions, immediate feedback, social interaction. So try to outsource the traditional monologues to the recorded online lectures and instead use the classroom time for in-person interaction with the students in order to increase engagement. So here we have now demystified the challenge number 1. What about challenge number 2? How can we bridge the digital divide? The second one is addressing the worry that some segments of students might be at a disadvantage because they might not have access to the technology that they need to have access to, or that they are not literate with the technology being used. And this is the digital divide. So it is concerned about that students from a weaker socioeconomic background do not have access to online material, or students who are not that tech savvy may not be using the technology. And learning science has shown that it is indeed a valid concern. So we do see meta-analysis that have shown that the socioeconomic status is an important determinant of academic achievement, meaning that students from a better socioeconomic family might then also have better academic outcomes. And also other meta-analyses have shown that there's a positive correlation between socioeconomic status and literacy in information and communication technology. So that means that students of a higher socioeconomic status perform better on tasks that are administered with educational technology than students from a lower socioeconomic status. And of course, it's important to not only address this digital divide, but to find ways to overcome it. The first step is to be aware of it, that it might exist at the institution. The second step is to try to prevent it. How can that be done? On an institutional level, one can assess the digital literacy level of the students and instructors, and then to address the pain points appropriately. So, for example, if one finds out that students are not that tech savvy, then to offer training. Or if one finds out that they do not have the appropriate learning technology, to adopt that learning technology. When one is adopting the learning technology, it's important to make it free. So it should be available at no additional cost to all students in order to ensure equity. And in order to remove socioeconomic barriers, one should choose a digital learning technology that is mobile friendly, because some students might only have access to a mobile phone and not a computer or laptop at home. Second, for the instructors, it's important to offer training at the beginning of the semester to ensure that all students understand the basic functions of the learning technology, so to overcome any lack of tech savviness in students. And it's also helpful when instructors do realize that a digital divide might exist and are therefore more understanding if students are not able to turn on their cameras, or if they need longer to complete an online task because they might just not be as tech savvy. So these are some central points from learning science of how digital divide can be addressed and overcome. The third concern has to do with academic integrity. So it has to do with academic honesty, meaning cheating. And the underlying concern is that if learning assessments are conducted online, then students might feel an increased temptation to cheat. So it was found out that academic dishonesty is significant in most educational institutions. And here you can see in what ways it is significant. But what the studies also found is that online offerings are not more susceptible to cheating than traditional in-person courses. So academic integrity can be reinforced in online courses, hybrid learning courses, and in-person courses. But of course, we need to see that there are many more new ways in which students can cheat. So even though online assessments do not have a higher likelihood of increasing academic dishonesties, students nonetheless have many more ways to cheat nowadays. And this is called e-dishonesty in learning science. This includes, for example, plagiarism, such as downloading papers from the internet and claiming them as one's own work. Or using unauthorized material, for example, using material or searching the internet during an online exam and it was done without permission. Or facilitation by helping others to engage in cheating. So, for example, chatting with other students during an online exam without permission. Or this is not done as often, but nonetheless it can occur. The falsification by misrepresenting oneself, so to have another person complete the online assignment. So to address e-dishonesty, it is important to understand the reasons why students engage in academic dishonest behaviors. So what does student make, why are students more prone to cheat? They're more prone to cheat if three conditions are met. Namely, that they have an opportunity to cheat without being caught. That they feel pressure by themselves, by their parents, their peers, employers, or the university to get good grades. And when students believe that their cheating is within the bounds of acceptable conduct. This sounds weird, but if students perceive that there is an institutional cheating culture, for example, by other cheating students or unfair competition or instructors that are indifferent to cheating, then they feel that there's acceptable conduct of cheating at that institution. So when all three of these conditions are met, then students are more likely to cheat, which means in turn that we can address all of these three conditions in order to prevent that from happening. So on an institutional level, one can create an honor code that clearly defines what constitutes academic dishonesty and also outlines the penalties, and to publicize them in order to raise the academic standards at the institution and to make everyone aware of them. It also helps to be understanding and provide mental health support in order to ease the pressure that students might perceive. And on an instructor level, one can discuss what behaviors are actually considered academically dishonest at the beginning of the semester, and to make students also aware of the penalties that exist for cheating and of the honor code that exists at the institution. Instructors can also make sure that the assignments are meaningful and relevant to the students, so not assigning busy work, and to change the assessment type to open-ended questions, projects, open books, and question pools. And last but not least, if they want to be very certain, they can also use exam security measures such as web video recording or live online proctoring for online exams. But if they do, then they need to inform the students about it because it does have privacy issues and data protection issues. So this is how one can ensure academic integrity in a hybrid course. What about the fourth myth? The fourth myth has to do with preparation time for a course. So the underlying concern is that hybrid learning is more time-consuming when one is preparing the course, such as creating material, the general class preparation, and conducting evaluations. But these initial costs can be decreased when an instructor is reusing an already developed hybrid learning course. So what can be done? Institutions can provide training on hybrid course development to instructors so that they're just more certain about what options they have, and to offer regular technology training so that they understand the new technology well. Or, for example, we at Wiley, we are also offering faculty training for using our technology of Wiley Digital Solutions. And when the institution is choosing a learning technology, it should make sure that it is easy to use. So not to have hundreds of pages of manual that each faculty has to go through before being able to use the technology, but it should be intuitive and easy to use. And for the instructors, they can try to prepare the online material during the semester break so that they have more time during the semester. And as stated, if they have already done the course once, they can then reuse the recorded lectures and outsource in any individual projects, pulling questions and homework assignments to the online component. And ideally, that online component, the online educational technology, can automatically grade those assignments so that the instructors are also saving time. So now we have demystified all four myths or challenges that instructors and institutions might face when they're employing hybrid learning. And at the end of this talk, I want to share with you one success stories of Wiley Digital Solution. So Wiley Digital Solution can be used in a hybrid course. We have done several efficacy studies with our partnering institutions, but I will only share one today. Before we delve into that, I first want to give you a short introduction to Wiley Digital Solutions so that you know what I'm talking about. Wiley Digital Solutions consists of two components, Wiley Plus and Wiley Digital Textbooks. Let's find out more about Wiley Plus first.
The next generation of Wiley Plus is courseware designed to simplify and enhance your job as an educator in every way. Heavy course loads shouldn't be complicated by technology confusion. Our student-friendly mobile design sets up a clear path to assignments, resources, and materials, saving time for study and practice. Personalized learning can create a more fulfilling classroom experience for everyone. With adaptive practice, students can identify and focus on personal challenges while you monitor their progress, empowering more students to succeed by bridging the learning gap. You know the best way to teach your class, so flexibility and customization is crucial. With Wiley Plus, you can remove and reorganize existing content, add your own materials, and enhance courses with discussions and unique assignments. Our users call the next generation of Wiley Plus intuitive, streamlined, and praise it as the easier way to teach and learn. Request your test drive now and experience the next generation of Wiley Plus.
Okay, so now you've seen more about Wiley Plus, and now I want to give you a short introduction to Wiley Digital Textbooks.
Introducing Wiley Digital Textbooks, an all-encompassing library content solution for your worldwide patrons. Impactful learning made available within reach. Anytime and anywhere. Broaden your digital content library while ensuring educators and learners are equipped to be successful. Access the largest industry-leading textbook collection in the market, which includes key academic textbooks and a wide range of reference and professional titles from across the established franchises and imprints of Wiley, renowned academic authors, industry experts, and professional organizational partners. Patrons can now access industry-relevant content covering in-demand topics. Over 10,000 exclusive Wiley academic and professional learning titles available in this collection. Wiley Digital Textbook is built with the librarians and patrons in mind. The feature-rich platform provides your patrons with robust discoverability and features to enhance learners' experience. making it an intuitive platform for personalized experience. With convenience in the palm of your hand, coupled by powerful, intuitive, and accessibility features catered to all readers. It provides various insightful and actionable usage data, allowing you to easily select and update collections based on your needs. Instill confidence of your patrons through engagement. Students who have accessed Wiley digital textbooks report significantly better learning outcomes than non-users. You are able to foster greater educational equity for an inclusive learning environment. Your institutional departments can also save up to 71% on cost per e-textbook. Learn more about Wiley digital textbooks today.
So now you've seen more about Wiley Plus and Wiley Digital Solutions. So Wiley Digital Textbooks consists of over 10,000 digital textbooks for higher educational institutions, and students can access all of those free of charge. And Wiley Plus is integrated into an already existing course, for example, on Blackboard or Moodle, and it incorporates many elements that enhance student learning, such as simulations or test quizzes, so that students can potentially perform better. So of course, we then test for our partner institutions if that is actually true, if students are indeed performing better. And here I want to share this success story with regard to teaching effectiveness. So taking a look at instructors and how they perceive Wiley Digital Solution in terms of if they can teach more effectively in the end. So we partnered with UHAY in Indonesia to find out how Wiley Digital Solutions affects teaching effectiveness. We did a study over 2 years and had a final sample of 44 instructors. We were looking at, of course, if the digital solution was being used, and if so, by how many hours per week. We were also measuring the perceived usefulness of digital solution, so in terms of saving time in class preparation and easiness to integrate into one's learning management system. And we measured teaching effectiveness, but of course this is not a one-dimensional factor, but we included many different items such as self-efficacy, interaction, grades, self-evaluation. So we asked the instructors, how do you feel your students have benefited from the use of Wiley Digital Solution? And then they could rate on a 1 to 5 Likert scale in terms of a positive impact on student grades, providing opportunities to interaction, helping students to better evaluate what they know and do not know, to have a better idea of how students are doing in the course and whether students are more engaged in class, as an example. We then conducted a component factor analysis, as you can see, and also computed Chromas alpha in order to measure the consistency of the factors. And as we can see, the variables that we chose measure teaching effectiveness and usefulness of the solution in their completeness. So what did we find out? We found out that instructors who are using Wiley Digital Solutions report a significantly greater teaching effectiveness than non-users. So as you can see here, the instructors who are using Wiley Digital Solutions report that their teaching is more effective than the non-users. So of course, we then were curious if perhaps there are other factors that could explain this difference. So we then looked into the typical factors such as age or gender, but also teaching philosophy. And we could not find any significant differences between those two groups, except for whether they use Wiley Digital Solutions or not. So the differences cannot be explained by different teaching values or any sociodemographics, but rather whether they are using Wiley Digital Solution. And we can find more in-depth explanations for this main finding. So we can see that instructors are reporting great usefulness of Wiley Digital Solution for the class preparation. Over 80% said that it helps them save time. That they also perceive a positive impact on the grades of students. Over 70% reported that they feel that it makes a positive impact on students' grades. And that they feel that it integrates all learning cycle dimensions. So harking back now to Bloom's taxonomy of not only including assignments for learning and knowing, but also for analyzing and reflecting. So over 80% of the instructors said that their students developed a better understanding of the concepts and course objectives. And fourth, we also found that instructors said that the social behavior competency of the students is increasing because over 80% said that the learning technology gave their students more time to interact with them during the class. So we can see several benefits of Wiley Digital Solution here, as well as in our other case studies, such as that it has an impact on teaching effectiveness, the content is delivered in a more consistent way, the assessments are graded fairer, there's more potential to save time in class preparation, one can easily create a hybrid learning environment and give access to real-time feedback on student performance. On the other hand, for students, it's easier to communicate with each other as well as with the instructor. The learning technology is always available 24/7. They do not need to wait to get access to the library, but it's just there online. And it promotes student agency. It also supports their learning efforts and makes the learning experience more enjoyable because there are different ways in which students can choose material to learn in a way that matches their learning style. So in general, our studies show that Wiley Digital Solution can increase student engagement, which was the first myth that we discussed. It can bridge the digital divide because it is free for all students to use. And it is also intuitive, so it can bridge the digital divide. It can improve academic integrity because assignments are, for example, graded automatically. And it can save time in class preparation. So at the end of this talk, what are the central takeaway messages for you? I want institutions to know that an education technology can help them in order to achieve a very successful hybrid learning environment. But they need to choose one that aligns with the needs of their students and their instructors. And once they've chosen one, it's important to offer training, how to use the technology. Either the institution can offer it, or maybe the company from which the education technology was purchased can offer it. For example, at Wiley, we regularly offer faculty training how to use our technology efficiently and effectively. And for institutions, it's also important to make the technology free for all students and instructors in order to increase equity. For instructors, it's important at the beginning of each semester to always assess what is the tech savviness level of the students, and to also offer a short introduction to the technology that is being used in order to bridge the digital divide. Instructors can also do a lot in order to ensure academic integrity, such as guiding students through the honor code of academic integrity at the institution. And time is always short for lecturers, for scholars. So in order to save time, try to reuse already recorded lectures in subsequent courses. So for students, it's always important to develop skills in critical thinking, creativity, and analysis. And that is also true for hybrid learning. We also encourage institutions to conduct efficacy studies in order to find out how well the hybrid courses are working, and potentially collaborating with the company that is offering the technology in order to find out more about how the institution is benefiting from the technology and what could be improved. So we at Wiley are always happy to partner with our partnering institutions in order to conduct these efficacy studies on Wiley digital solutions. So I've come to the end of my talk on hybrid education and the use of digital media in the classroom. I hope you enjoyed this talk, hearing more about the now normal, how to overcome challenges in hybrid learning, and what Wiley Digital Solution is about and how it can provide a great hybrid learning experience. Feel free to reach out to me or to my colleagues to find out more about our case studies and white papers. You can also access the white paper on hybrid learning in Asia through the QR code that you see on the screen. This QR code also includes a form, a contact form. So if you want to find out more, then just put in your particulars and we'll be happy to be in touch. I'm now looking forward to the discussion.